Chris Matthews recently sat down with a number of Kennedy insiders for a special documentary set to air, already scheduled to air previous to the news this morning. Tomorrow on MSNBC, it's called The Kennedy Brothers. Chris Matthews, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ann.
Looking at this, taking a look at this closely, at this family, where does Ted Kennedy fit into the Kennedy brothers?
Well, he was always a brother. I think that's what he'll be remembered as. When he was 14 years old at a celebration for his brother Jack, when he was about to be elected to Congress, a young 14-year-old Ted Kennedy stood up and said, "I'd like to offer a toast to the brother who's not here, Joseph Kennedy Jr. He's the one that remembered the older brother who was killed in World War II. I think if Jack Kennedy was asked back in 1957 to pick the greatest senators in history, in fact, if you go visit the United States Capitol, their pictures are on the wall, LaFayette and Taft and Webster and Clay and Calhoun. If he'd been able to look forward, he would have picked his youngest brother. And it's so ironic that Jack Kennedy as a senator and then Robert Kennedy as a senator, not really focusing on that job, Ted Kennedy, of all the brothers, became the great senator, perhaps, of history.
You know, it's interesting. The Irish Foreign Affairs Minister said something very poignant this morning when he said that Ted Kennedy was the true profile in courage.
Well, it's ironic because everything that Matt brought out in terms of his life is all true. It's a mixed bag. He grew up. I think that's the answer to the question.
We watched him grow up.
He took a while to grow up, but he did find his seat. He wasn't meant to be president. He ran because his brothers ran, but yet he was the most brotherly. And if you look at the history of the guy, of what he went through and to become this great senator, I say to young people, you think it doesn't matter? You're voting at 18. You think it doesn't matter? You're a young woman athlete? Title IX. You get to play sports with the same ability as a young man.
Because he had
These
that
are
impact.
Little things in his life. And yet he couldn't run for president. Roger Mudd asked him the best journalist question, perhaps, of modern times. The hardball down the middle, not the curveball, not the tricky one. Why do you want to be president? It took Ted Kennedy 70 words to get to the answer, which was restoration. He just wanted to bring back what Bobby and Jack had given us.
Well,
he wanted to be his brother's brother. And then he turned that torch over last year to Barack Obama. And the great thing about the Kennedys is they always grew as a family. They tended to get better as they got older. Some families, like the Long family of Louisiana, dissipated. This family got better. The Kennedy commitment to civil rights was almost accidental. It began because of history, 63 and Martin Luther King's march. By Bobby, it became passion. By Teddy, it became real. And then Teddy turns it over to the first African-American and says, you got the ball. Amazing history. Barack's now the last brother.
That's
it's
a very
history.
Interesting point to
It's
make.
history. And he was the great brother.
All right, on that note, we lead it. Chris Matthews, thank you so much this morning. And once again, the Kennedy Brothers, a special hour-long documentary premieres tomorrow night on MSNBC.